we are going to keep this one short, sweet, straight to the point, hopefully under 10 minutes. This is going to be a price prediction video for AMC by the end of this upcoming week. We're only going to be going over the key things that are pertaining to AMC, guys. So let's get into all of this information. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section, and literally without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So first things first, with AMC, as I reported to you guys in the last video, we did get Avatar: The Way of Water numbers, and the domestic box office missed expectations by a decent amount. I would say those expectations were maybe a little bit high for the domestic box office, but the international box office was very, very good, close to $500 million in the first weekend for any film globally is very positive. And Avatar: Way of Water was a little bit different than other films because it came out unison with the whole world. So China didn't get it before America, Europe didn't get it before China or America. It came out the same time across the world, or factor in, you know, time zones or whatever. It came out at the same time. So you're getting a lot of these numbers that are coming in that are really, really good for any film, really, post-COVID era. And I do think that is going to be a positive thing for AMC, and considering AMC fell so much last week, I do think there is a lot of room for a bounce in this next upcoming week. A lot of it has to do with the option activity, like we talked about in the last video. The option activity is 5 times more bullish, or wait, how should I say that? 5 times more calls than puts for this next week. That is very bullish. Maybe that's a better way to put it. And typically when you see that kind of call activity versus put activity, you do see a positive reaction in any stock, but especially a stock like AMC tends to be very, very positive. Now, even though we've been selling off for pretty much the last 2 weeks, we're still holding above the lows of 2022. Unless we broke those lows last week, I did tell you guys that I got to be bullish on a new fresh week because we got a lot of the data out of the way. We're not going to get a lot of data besides on Friday. You're going to get personal spending, personal income. And that could definitely move the markets. But the beginning of the week, you don't have much. You don't have a lot for earnings. There is 2 companies that will be very important for earnings that will come out, I believe, on Tuesday. We'll talk about it here in this video. But by and large, you got the Fed out the way. You got CPI out the way. You got the summary of economic projections out the way. You got just everything that could have been negative essentially out of the way. Things that we can look ahead to and forecast. Who knows what's going to happen in China or what's going to happen across the world, right? What we know could have been negative already happened. So usually after a negative week like that, an 8% decline from the peak to the low, you do tend to see bounces, and some of the stocks that did fall the most are probably going to bounce the most as well. AMC did close down about 5.18% on Friday. It was definitely not a positive day, but you did retract somewhat to the upside after hitting that low of $5.13 per share about intraday. So that is positive that you've seen that retraction. You did see the wick to the low side, not to the high side. Typically, that is indication of a slight bullish reversal. Now, let's get into some of the Ortex data briefly if you guys did not watch the last video, and then I do want to talk about the earnings that will be coming out for this week and then dive into the technicals kind of in that order. So let's get into the Ortex data, and like I said, guys, for December 23rd, that is going to be this Friday, you do have 75.71% of the open interest held in the call side, 24.29% held in the put side, and the actual numbers here tell the whole story. You do have about 96,000 calls that are out of the money and only about 20,000 puts that are out of the money. So a lot more calls that are out of the money than puts that are out of the money. And even on the in the money puts and the in the money calls, you're looking at a lot of calls compared to puts. And typically when that does happen, like I said, on any stock, you tend to get a bullish reaction in that week. But especially with AMC, and especially coming off of a negative last week, a super negative last week. I don't even think we had one positive day, at least to close the day. Maybe a 0.5% positive day here on December 14th. Other than that, you really didn't get any positive days. 0.5% right there, like I said, December 14th, and you actually did close positive 0.17% on Monday, December 12th. But by and large, very negative last week. And when you get those negative weeks, you tend to see at least a bounce in the next upcoming week, regardless of where the option activity even is. Considering it's so bullish, that leads me to be a little bit more bullish on this week for AMC. And Avatar, I do believe, will continue to get more numbers coming out, and we will continue to see, hopefully, Adam Aron update us about kind of the sales that AMC's seen. Because if you guys can recall the last blockbuster movie that came out, Adam Aron was letting us know and really toting and bragging somewhat that it was like record food sales for AMC's 101-year history. Like, a lot of records were broken based off of Black Panther, and that was obviously very exciting, and it did cause a bullish reaction in the stock. The stock actually rallied. Some of the strongest days throughout 2022 were when Black Panther came out and when Adam Aron was saying that AMC was breaking those records. Nonetheless, we also got news last week that AMC is pursuing with its Visa card here very shortly in the first couple of months of 2023, and it kind of looks good. I kind of want it myself, guys, not to lie to you. And this could be a definite game changer for AMC if it does gain traction. There's a little bit of concerns I have. Obviously, it's only available to AMC Stub members. I think it should be available to everyone. I think that could be a really lucrative source of revenue for AMC, and I do think that will happen, and I do think that would cause a lot of bullishness once that is announced. Nonetheless, you're coming off of a lot of negativity, and I don't think it is warranted with AMC. Even the whole drop that we have seen is due to rumors of basically creditors organizing on AMC to seize its assets if it goes bankrupt. That is what caused this whole drop. AMC was looking beautiful. The hedge funds forced this, and I do think we could see a very explosive move here very shortly. Now, we're going to look at the technicals here in just 1 second, but I do want to take a look at some of the earnings for this week, because on Tuesday, that's where things are going to be a little bit crazy, and I'll break down exactly why that is here in just a second. But pre-market, you have General Mills and Fuel Cell Energy. These are obviously Fuel Cell Energy. That's important for a lot of people. Not my kind of stock, not something I invest in. I did in the past, made a lot of money on it, but that was that. A lot of people do follow that one, though. General Mills, not my kind of company either, but you definitely want to hear what they have to say, or at least the markets want to hear what they have to say. Tuesday and after hours, that's where things are going to get a little bit interesting, because you have Nike and you have FedEx. And now we're going to get numbers for the holiday season. Specifically, Nike will be important for obviously apparel, how consumers are spending, and it will feed into, a positive or negative reaction from other retailers, but also FedEx, because the holiday season, if FedEx does not post good numbers and give us good guidance, the state of the markets right now are more worried about a recession. So if these companies have bad earnings, it's going to kick those recession fears into full swing. Now, I do think the earnings are probably going to be pretty decent. I've heard a lot of people are shopping online. So just perspectively, I do kind of have a bullish tilt on these earnings. People did spend for the holiday season. Now, Wednesday and after hours, you are going to have Micron, and their last earnings were terrible. So I want to see what that looks like. Chip companies, they are definitely important to the markets and definitely help dictate which way that the markets are going to go. Now, as far as AMC on an actual technical basis and where I think AMC could go, I do think the 50-day moving average is very much reasonable, right? Let's just take a look at the low of 2022 for AMC. That was on November 9th. Subsequently, after AMC hit that low on December 9th, the stock rallied 18%. and then followed by another almost 18% rally. So if we go ahead and pull up and see exactly what that percentage gain was from the low, and we'll go ahead and pull that up right here. That was roughly a 41% gain, and that just took us to the 50-day moving average. Now, we've seen resistance at the 50-day moving average over the past week, but if we think something along the same lines could happen, it would only take about a 22% rally to get to that 50-day moving average. So it's half the amount of, well, half of the percentage gain it would take to get to that major moving average. And I do think that is very much in reason. So that's kind of my base case scenario, is we come up to the 50-day moving average, we really find resistance around there like we did back here after this 18% rally back to back, found resistance, and then it's possible we gap above that over the next couple of days, over the rest of the week. And I do think we could see a pretty explosive move right off the bat, right to start the morning tomorrow. If we get batted down by the hedge funds, that's going to be another question, but that is my base case scenario. To hit around the 50-day moving average, that would be about $1.25 of a move from where we currently sit at $5.31 per share, to bring us to about $6.55 per share. My best case scenario is around $8.26. That is this level that I have drawn out right here, right under the 100-day moving average. I would think we'd find resistance around there, just like we seen last time, December 1st, December 2nd, and December 5th. My worst case scenario is kind of where we're sitting at right now. I don't expect to break the lows of 505, the low of 2022, simply put, because we have a lot of the bad news out of the way, guys. There's not a lot of bad news, and Avatar, even though the domestic box office did not hit projections, the international one is definitely very positive, and AMC is a international business, the largest movie theater operator in the world. So I do think you're going to have a bullish tilt, and I do think AMC will have a good week in this next upcoming week. The question is, how high do we go? And even last week, we've seen a lot of shorting. So if hedge funds start to get caught off guard with some of those large short positions they put on last week, they might opt to cover on those positions a lot sooner than a lot of people do realize, guys. So that is going to be all for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.